Oh, shit.
Good evening, everybody. Billy O here, coming to you from the deep, deep bowels of the Huns Library in Palm Desert, California, where a lot of old people live. This is Huns Oldcast 2.10, September 2nd, 2021. And this is the last Oldcast for season 2, because we just finished our fiscal year. And we got a lot to talk about. Tonight's special guests are Brian, our new director of rugby, Wellborn. Brian, how you doing?
Doing good, thank you.
And Corey Cornelius Jones. Your parents Soul Train fans, brother?
Nah, man, I wish. Cornelius is biblical.
That's a great middle name either way. All right, let's get down to it. We all just saw you guys at Nationals. I know it wasn't perfect, but I was really proud of this team. I thought you played Chicago great. Took us a little time to get going, but we rebounded and had a good, decent second half against the Ronins. They're the 2 finalists. All the other matches were just out of sight. I mean, you run Oceanside, absolutely off the pitch. You ran New York Old Blue, who beat us a couple years ago in a super qualifier, absolutely off the pitch, and played great defense to beat perennial powerhouse Life West in the plate final for 5th place. You can make an argument we might have finished as high as 3rd place. I know as a fan, as a board member, I was really, really happy with what you guys did. Corey, what was that experience like for you as a player and as a team on the field captain?
This was an amazing 7th season, an amazing national run. It was a little bit different than some of the other nationals that I've been to, only because this team was, I guess, homegrown, as you say. Everybody was from Texas. We all practiced on the same field. All the guys came from 15s. I didn't have really any international ringers that, I guess, like the Bulldogs and other teams that, we brought in from previous years. So that was really cool. It was cool to be the skipper in the jersey presentation, already knowing the guys and like being able to speak, maybe to a little sentimental note and really get to connect with the guys before we took the field. I think that kind of maybe what gave us an edge. Everybody just knew each other through thick and thin.
I thought you guys really played like a unit. We were talking about this before I hit the record button. The defensive pattern of this team was extraordinary. Even the commentators were talking about it, and you guys made some really special athletes look ordinary with your defensive pattern and your defensive efforts. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. We had a very big system this year, sticking to our defensive pattern and winning kickoffs. Kickoffs didn't really go our way, but I mean, that's how the ball bounces in rugby. So we just kind of stuck to what we could do, which was play a just suffocating defense.
Be nice to find touch a little bit more, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I love you, brother. I just had to say that, man. Brian, man, you've been a player. You've been an MLR player. Now this last year, you've been scrum coach. We'll talk a little bit later about another role you're taking on soon, director of rugby. And, a lot of the guys were talking about just what a stabilizing influence you were as sort of the adult in the room. How do you feel about all that? And what was Nationals like for you as a lifetime Hun and as a coach?
Oh, man, it's rare that I'm ever the adult in the room, period. I guess, sevens we get to run with a little bit of a younger crowd. But, one thing that, Corey touched on in the beginning that was special about this team was that brotherhood and just the personal connection everyone had in it. In that from the first night in the jersey presentation, everyone was just kind of bonded together on this one mission of perfecting our rugby and taking this team to as far as it could go and maxing it out. And man, just standing on the outside a little bit and looking into it, thinking on when I first started playing sevens, and I actually was going to wear an old sevens jersey that probably Scheidler would be the only one left that remembers, but it don't fit anymore. So I'm not going to do it. But, I think, thinking back over all the years and the seasons that I played, I think that this team and this year, not just sevens, but the 15s that built into it as well, was one of the more special groups that I've been around, and just, the camaraderie and the commitment to each other just translates beautifully on the field. And man, it's something really special to watch.
Man, I was really blown away by the sevens season and just the evolution of it. We won a couple of close matches, and it felt like we were punching above our weight when we beat the Reds a couple times. I've talked at length in other interviews of just how miraculous that last try at Hell or High Water sevens was, with guys filling in for injured dudes. Corey was hurt. Brendan was hurt. Alex obviously gone for the year. Coach not even there. And, guys that routinely played on our second sevens side stepped in, got the job done. And then, at the Blacks place, River City Sevens, it just seemed like everything fell in place. Guys came back from injury. Guys were covering for each other. The ball bounced our way. And we ran some really good teams off the pitch. It was an incredible sevens season leading up to nationals, but it really seemed like we peaked at the right time. Coach, do you agree with that?
Yeah. And I mean, you could just feel it building to the point where, I agree, where we weren't really sure of ourselves, what we were working with in that first Dallas tournament. Even though we won it, we still weren't really, I didn't feel like, we were aware of ourselves yet. But one thing that you could feel about this team, which, I think was palpable, whether you were coaching, whether you were a player, whether you were D2, D3, because the same energy ran throughout the entire program, was that we were just continuing to build, and we were hungry, and we were on a mission, not necessarily to chase wins, but to chase, the quality of rugby and the quality of program that we were after. And, by the time the Austin River City tournament came around, I didn't even think there was anyone left that was in our league. I mean, we had surpassed, when we were firing on all cylinders, I didn't think the Reds had anything to say. I didn't think Grand Prairie had anything to say. By the time we got to Seattle, I didn't believe that the idea of being an underdog was warranted, because we walked in there. I mean, the teams we were crushing, by the time we were warmed up and ready for Seattle, and it was tough to open up with that Lions game, because we kind of were at a point where, do we belong here? Should we be confident here? But even throughout the tournament and nationals, there was not one point where this team didn't take a punch on the chin, or win a game that was beneath us, where we lost sight of what we were building towards, and continuing to grow, and continuing to get better and challenge ourselves. So that was a long-winded answer, I know, but
That's awesome.
Man, it was such an intricate understanding and turning of the energy of where it was like building. Then we became sure of ourselves. Then we started ratcheting in the pieces and tightening it up. And by the time we were in Seattle, Adam kind of built a motto into what we were playing for. And it was like, who'd you play today? No one. The only opponent we had at that point was ourselves. And whether it was Life West, whether it was New York, it did not matter.
God damn, Coach. I hope you do the pregame pep talks. I'm ready to fucking go play. Corey, you agree with all that?
Yeah, no, I definitely do. There wasn't one thing that Brian said that wasn't correct. And we actually was able to come into this nationals with a little bit of fire under our bellies. Back when Mateo got injured in HTX sevens, that was kind of like a tipping point of, we're going to be serious or not. We ended up having a film session that Monday, and it was like, it's either yes or no right now. And then the week before, Little Bone gets hurt in Shreveport, and like talking about being pissed off, I was mad at the world. So going into Seattle, it seemed pretty easy. I mean, left and right, it was Huns. So I felt like I could do anything there.
You look like you were having fun. You knew a lot of people there. I could tell that. And, to lead this team, and the Huns have always had a reputation as an underdog, a small club, all that jazz. And, I heard New York Old Blue was shocked. And I think that's great. I think it's great that we took home some big scalps, including the Reds. River City Sevens, I really felt like we broke the Reds' heart. And, you know, to win that tournament at the Blacks pitch, to beat the Blacks at their field in sevens that day and in 15s, you know, that kind of stuff doesn't happen that often. Real quick before we move on, this team, coach, to me seems like it's greater than the sum of their parts. You agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that was the key to our success in Seattle. You know, it was team play, and I mean, Corey, you know, outdid himself as far as leadership and really running that team on the field and warming up for games. And I mean, you know, when you're playing teams at that caliber where every name on the roster is exceptional, then it's team ball that is where you're going to find your success. It's not going to be an individual play. So, you know, I got to really tip my hat to Corey on that, man. He kept everyone's head in the circle and everyone's eyes up. And we out teamed a lot of good fucking teams.
Corey, was your heart in your throat for a couple of minutes there in the middle of the second half of the WAC game? Did you know what color card he was going to come out with?
Oh yeah, no. Me and him actually had a conversation. The dump was illegal, but it was clean. It was on the lower back, and the conversation was more about the roughhousing that ensued afterwards.
Yeah, the how's your father stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he asked me, you know, should both guys get, you know, penalties or should just you? And I said, hey, I'll take all the responsibility for it. That was my bad. I raised my hand. I shook the guy's hands afterwards, and we just kind of played on from there.
Well, you know, it was really interesting because I'm watching this thing on my computer down in Aruba, right? So near Venezuela. Thank God for the internet. And the announcers went crazy. Oh my God, he's going to get a red card. They're throwing roundhouses. It looked really bad, the first thing, and there's no replays. So I'm sitting here freaking the fuck out. And I texted, I get a text Matt, what the fuck's going on? Goddamn, what'd Corey do? And I get a text back from Ed Benson, calm down. It wasn't that bad. This is all while the referee and the touch judges are talking. They're like, it wasn't that bad. Yeah, the one haymaker from Brandon looked bad, but he was just backing up his buddy, nothing connected. It's going to be okay. I mean, all this is happening in real time. And between us, I think they were just really pissed off they were getting beaten by the Huns. I mean, honestly, that's a defending national champion.
For sure. But hey, I mean, I gotta give credit to WAC where it was. After it happened, they didn't back down. And one of the guys to actually separate me it was Nick, the WAC player, the Seattle boy. And he was one of the first ones to come to me and, you know, try to cool me down and, you know, I guess essentially move me from the situation and bring me back to a smarter place. So, I mean, kudos to them as well.
Dude, you know what? I was impressed by the sportsmanship and the teamwork. Sportsmanship between a lot of these teams. You know, I could see adversaries when we were playing patting each other on the back for a good play. I thought New York was very sportsmanlike after we whomped them. But let's move on. We could talk about this forever. Brian, you had a really nice chat with the board the other day. You were a board member. You're not anymore. You had to resign to become the director of rugby. But in your last board meeting, you were telling us that you had one of your greatest moments ever as a Hun after the little awards and picture ceremony, walking back towards the Huns tent and stuff. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and how it felt for you?
Yeah. You know, one thing that was really cool about the experience we had was that, you know, none of us realized, at least I didn't personally, until the very end. And after we had, after the Life West game and we had taken all of our plate photos with the photog in front of the banner and all that, the stands had started to fill because the cup final, the men's cup final, was the next game on the field. And once the Huns had got done taking our pictures and we were walking across the grandstands to get back to the back fence and then walk to the players' tent, and we all stayed in a tight group and we were walking across the front section of all the stands there. And as we got up there, you know, the crowd started to clap and you know, a good amount of them were given a standing ovation. And, you know, we continued to walk, and for a little bit, I figured there was just a game on the field behind us. And me and Adam were walking right by each other, and he was looking over his shoulder as well. to see what was happening on the field at the time. And it turns out there wasn't a game going on at all. And as we continued to walk from one touch line to the end touch line, I mean, from one try zone to the next try zone, the Huns got a standing ovation crossing the field from a group of fans that we didn't know and didn't know us before the weekend, but by the last game we played against Life, man, we had earned all their respect, and you know, we got a huge clap off as we left the field, which is something that, in, you know, 39 years old and you know, 29 of that playing team sports, man. I mean, that was one of the most powerful moments I ever got to witness and be a part of, man. And just to realize how many people had our backs and respected what that team had done, you know, over the weekend was just a really great thing to witness.
All knowledgeable fans too, right? I mean, these
Oh,
are
yeah.
our peers.
I mean, yeah.
These are our peers doing it.
That's the legit crowd up there, man. They know what they're talking about, and they know what they're watching. So you know, to garner that much respect from the national crowd, man, really says a lot about what this team did up there.
Corey, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. It was really special. I can't say, you know, I've been there, done that, but I've seen a couple of crowds before, and I've been a part of some winning teams. And for us not to be on that final field and to still get the love that we got after beating WAC, after beating Life West, teams that their fans were there, you know, cheering them on. It was really cool. It was really cool to see, you know, the shine and the smiles on, you know, my boys' faces, knowing they did a job well done after a grueling, you know, 2 days of hard footy.
I heard that the Reds and HTX and Grand Prairie, you know, stood up for us too. You know, to me, Sevens really seems to have that vibe, these tournaments where everybody comes together. It's not just a couple of games of beer and you go home. That just sounds really special. I've got a picture I found on the internet. You guys look like a happy crew watching the final. Aren't you in the back somewhere up there sticking your tongue out?
Yeah,
mugging for the camera?
Right next to Brian.
There he is.
Yeah. You guys look happy, you know. I had to leave. I've said this every interview since. I had to leave my brother-in-law's birthday dinner to go watch the finals. Mm-hmm. I just said, dude, I love you, but it's the finals, you know, and I'll be back in half an hour. And my wife wasn't that happy about it. My brother-in-law was completely cool. He understood. You know, real quick, I want to just remind everybody that we came out top of the table in 15s, beat the Blacks twice, took the season series on bonus points and point differential from the Reds and Rugby HTX. Rugby HTX has got a huge budget, I think. Some people that they're actively trying to get into MLR, you know, recruited with that promise. You know, we beat them. We beat the Blacks at their place, which is outstanding. Now you go to sevens. We had a great summer seven season, three-peat in total championships. And one of the things that really makes this so special for me, in addition to what the players and coaches did, is it really seemed to me that the whole club came together around all of this, like the donations to send guys to nationals, you know, the efforts to make Bloodfest a success, the cost management, expense management from our key officers like the director of rugby and the field maintenance and the head coach and all that. We had a good season financially. I mean, this to me is an incredible, we all did this together experience. Brian, again, as a longtime Hun, you've seen good times, bad times. What do you think about that statement?
Yeah, I would totally agree. You know, as a Hun for going on just about 12 years now, you know, the energy has never felt better within this club. I mean, I think more people have never been, you know, we've never had more people engaged, and whether they're in Austin or not, we definitely haven't had this many people engaged that aren't in Austin, which I think is a massive shout out to you, Bill, and you know, producing this show and keeping our name out there and not letting people forget about us. But you know, I think what's where the Huns are going as a whole is, you know, just like at times when we incorporated and became a 501c3 and created our board of directors, and just like when we decided to go out and get Nixon Lane to start developing a facilities and a home for the club. And, you know, I think the direction that the directors and the board of directors and administration are really looking to see this club go is just up and outward, man. And it has been that way for about the last 10 years now, at least. And we've had some success before that. But, you know, I think a lot of people are serious about watching this club grow up is not just a successful on the field coach and team in all divisions, you know, with our high school and our youth developing very quickly as well. That you know, we're gonna get better at organizing and administering the structural part of this club that grows it, that makes a product people want to invest in and donate to, that keeps the culture vibrant and accessible, that keeps the facilities better than anybody else in this part of the country has to play on. You know, that takes a whole lot of minds and a whole lot of energy to make it happen, to where the players that are cutting on the field each day and each weekend, they don't have to wrap their heads around that stuff. They're free to just to play and develop as players, you know, and focus on rugby while they have those days. So, I mean, as being someone who's come up from, you know, kind of definitely the reckless, wild, young Hun, even though I wasn't that young when I joined.
Dude, you know what? You don't even want to
Younger than
swap
me,
stories
so.
with me. I totally understand.
You know, to growing into being interested in taking care of Nixon and developing Nixon, to being on the board of directors, to wanting to create events, to get donations and revenue. Like me and more than a handful of other Huns have grown up in this club, and we've learned different roles of how to grow it and keep this culture and the growth of it, you know, moving forward.
Dude, it's awesome. And it just makes me laugh. You know, eventually we either die or we grow up. When you're crazy like we were, or I was, sounds like you were too when you first came to the Huns. It's really
I've
all
grown
that
up a little
happens.
bit. Just
Corey, a
little.
lot of togetherness, in my opinion, in this club. What do you feel about the club and about club culture? It's like your third year now with us, I think.
Yeah, club culture is great. I didn't have to think about it. Probably one of the best clubs I've been a part of, especially culture-wise, especially one of the best clubs here in the States. You know, going across the pond with a couple other clubs that have been established, you know, for time and time again, it's kind of tough to beat that. But man, it feels like home here. It really feels like home. And upon coming here, I know we were kind of on the downswing, but I don't know, just being, I guess, completely honest and, you know, trying to say as humbly as possible. I've never really come from a losing organization or a team that, you know, hasn't really done that well. So my first year coming into it and us having that COVID season where, you know, we won, but there was an asterisk to it because I don't know. I feel like Eric Thomas, he's somebody who I really closely follow. I almost see him as a mentor, even though I don't know him myself. He always talks about creating a winning culture, a winning legacy. Just like winning has to be a part of your culture, not so much of just like trying hard. And I think once the wins started coming, guys started buying in and they started believing more and more. And now I think we just have like a culture of winning, not so much just a culture of Heinz, a culture of social. Like, I think this will be something that for seasons and seasons to come, we will grow on success. We'll turn what's happened here at the very beginning into a legacy for decades to come.
You know, I agree with you. We sat down, several of us, in the fall of 2018 and had a strategic planning meeting. Same time frame generally as the AGM, I think. I can't remember for sure. But we set some goals, and not just like, okay, we want to win on the field. Okay, how do you win on the field? You improve recruiting, you improve your coaching, you improve your finances, you do a lot of things behind the scene. And what I think Brian was talking about is we've really hit the nail on the head there. And one of the things that excites me, some of these guys we're recruiting right out of college, or this guy, Nick Taylor, we played against him in sevens just now in WAC. He was a season with Seattle and, you know, kind of just wants to get his normal life and career started. he is relocating to Austin to play for us. And if you don't do all these behind the scenes things and really ramp up all your games and win some games on the field, it's going to be tough to attract guys like that have come from very tight, professional or at least very organized programs. Brian, do you agree with that?
I do. I mean, definitely recruiting is something the Huns have really evolved in. And I think one of the biggest catalysts for that has been the sevens program. Once we figured out sevens and figured out recruiting sevens, and I can't remember who brought that idea to the board, but
Biff did. I don't know who else he worked on it with, but Biff brought that idea to the board.
Are we sure? Are we sure it's in? Do we need to go back and check?
I was calling into the meeting, and Biff's like, "Why is Overton here?" So he started out.
I'll Google it later.
He started ribbing me, and then he started talking about getting young kids in and clubmen in, and forget bringing in overseas people, and let's go for guys that'll fall in love with our club and stick with our club. And Biff is an entertaining and very interesting guy. He likes to play the Biff role, but he's super smart, super educated. He wants to be a professional announcer. He and Alex Reese could be calling MLR games together right now.
Yeah, they'd be a good team, huh?
And he gave a very good program. Zoom just told me we're running out of time. The picture behind me, to me, is what the Huns are all about. This is a post-practice huddle, happens every practice. The club coming together, and I really agree. We did this together as a group this year. Very quickly, the AGM we just had, we learned that we're going to get the land, and that's all worked out, which is great. We have a good financial health. Brian has recently resigned as a board member and has been approved by the board today to be our new director of rugby. I don't know if I should say congratulations or condolences. I want to say before you say anything about that, I think we really need to recognize Luis Sanchez, Wheezy. He's been the director of rugby for 4 years.
Yeah.
And when a lot of our players went pro and we had that really difficult season, he and Hansel put a steady hand on the tiller and said, how can we do some foundational things to get pointed in the right direction? And this is a year before you joined, Corey. So a lot of the success we've been able to achieve and create the D1 level winning attitude that I think Corey's talking about, a lot of that stems from having a really good director of rugby that's been a Hun forever, just like Brian, just like me. So Wheezy, I just want to say officially thank you for all you do. And I know you don't like compliments, so bite me.
Yeah.
Brian, real quick, what's going on with you and director of rugby?
Man, I'm excited for the new challenge. It's definitely a step up from any other commitment I've made with the Huns. So right now I'm just, working with the officers and the guys before me to get my mind wrapped around everything and get a map of what's going on. But me personally, the way I feel like I can define the role and where the club is moving. And if there's ever anything that would be the signature of my time as director of rugby, I hope it would be that we're looking to really create and develop a coaching infrastructure for the Huns so that we have a consistent strategy and a consistent methodology from the top D1 Men's Club all the way down to youth, high school, elementary, and middle school. Obviously, training at different levels and different experiences, that's going to be a vast difference there. But what I would like to see and what I'd like the club to really to put into place and start developing is that unified, cohesive coaching structure that works and organizes all the way down, so that teams and trainings become more independent and more specific to the team and the division that's training.
We also have to hire a new coach.
We
also have to hire a new coach. I don't know that everybody knows, they probably do, but Adam Scheidler, who's coached us for the last 4 years, brought us out of the abyss on the field where we appealed relegation. And, you know, really put in a system that, like sevens, worked for us and I think helped us be great. So I want to recognize Adam Scheidler, Schneebly, for all of his great work. He and I had a lot of talks that it's hard to coach guys that are doing the same shit to him that he did to his coaches back in the day. So a lot of karma there, but I know I don't want to talk about it too much because it's not a done deal, but we got some really positive things perhaps on the horizon coaching wise. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, one thing that Adam has really helped to build within the Huns is a standard of structure and cohesiveness, which translated on the field, you know, and that's something that we as a club are not just looking to perpetuate, but to grow on, you know, and to me and to a lot of other people, that felt like the greatest honor to Adam's effort would be to take this club to the next level. So I don't want to speak too much on the head coaching role because that's a process that we haven't finalized yet. But, you know, one thing is that wherever that role lands, the next season, this coming 15 season is going to be one of the most exciting, geared up seasons the Huns have ever had. I mean, from rosters all the way down to the coaching staff we're building with Ryan Burkowski and Andrew and myself. Jack Bloom will be coming back in November, I believe. So we're putting all the pieces in place, man, to just rock and roll from the top down. So I'm super excited. You know, I'm looking forward to just getting my hands into it.
And we're doing some great recruiting. I'm just going to leave it there. I know that we got some great prospects coming in. And again, there have been times in the past where it seemed like all the great prospects went to the Blacks. I have no idea what they're doing, and they're a strong club. They'll be back. Man, a lot of really strong prospects want to play for us.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That means you're doing something right. Okay, we probably have a minute or two. It's been a fabulous 2020, 2021 fiscal year season in every way. Corey, you captained both teams. I know you kind of backdoor captained 15s because Alex got hurt, but you know, any kind of brief final comments on the year and to the club?
Yeah, to the boys out there that should be on this Zoom interview or this Zoom talk with me from 7s to 15s. Just keep your head on, take the break, get healthy, find yourself again, get your mental toughness back, and just enjoy the life, you know, that's God put you on this earth to live for the bit, because when rugby starts back, we're going to hit it full force, you know, all 10 toes down, and we're going to really try and surprise some top level teams this year.
Can't wait. Brian?
Yeah, I like what Corey said, man. I would just tell everyone to just kind of, you know, relax, kick your feet up, get away from rugby for a little bit, let your mind wander, and find your center, find your chi. And then this fall, get ready to come back and go back to work, man, because we're going to do some big things this fall, man, and this spring.
You have grown up, dude. Find your chi. Holy cow. Extend your chi, everybody.
Man, it happens to the best of us, man. It fucking happens to the best of us.
Dude, you know what? My love for this club.
I'll keep a little ruckus going for the old boys.
My love for this club just keeps growing and growing and growing. And I love both you guys. Thanks for being Huns. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Corey.
Yeah, take it easy, fellas.
Cheers, y'all. See you, Bill.